My name is Father Jack Tierney. I'm originally from Wisconsin, and I came to know the Augustinians on the internet. I used Vocation Match, and I filled out the inventory, and it spit out a number of communities that would match to my profile. And so I first met the order online through the internet. After I received the information from Vision Vocation Match, it spit out a number of orders, and I really wasn't ready to talk to anybody yet. I was not ready to talk to a vocation director or anybody about my discernment. It was just between me and God initially. And so I got the information. It matched me with 6 or 7 communities initially. And so I started reading. I read the rules, I went to the websites. I tried to get as much information as I could just to internally process what God was working on my heart. Eventually, I was ready to reach out to a vocation director and finally talk to somebody about this thing, this growing desire that I had in my life that I just couldn't avoid anymore. At that time, Father Tom McCarthy was the Augustinian vocation director for the Midwest province. And so I called him on the phone several times. He came to visit me at college. I was at the University of Minnesota, and we went out to lunch, and he stayed at our men's house in Minneapolis. It was the St. Paul's Outreach Men's House community. And so he spent the night and got to know me, and he really just made me feel comfortable about this desire that I had to pursue religious life, priesthood, just to find out what God had put onto my heart. I was finally ready to visit a religious community, which I thought was a big step. And I visited Chicago for the first time. I stayed at St. Rita High School in our monastery there. And everywhere I went, I just felt welcome. The friars were welcoming, joyful, they were happy. I could see them both at home in the monastery with each other and out working in their ministry sites. And they just had a passion and a joy and a zeal for God that I wanted to share in. And they were inviting me to join them. And that feels good, that feels exciting. And so ultimately, I continued that discernment because at each decision point, I kept feeling like I was at home. What I wrote to define the Augustinian charism was interiority, just God working on our own heart and God giving us grace to move forward in conversion. And I wrote friendship because Augustine wanted to live with his friends. And within friendship, God gives us communion, always drawing us closer to each other and closer within the bond of love in the love of God. It's an absolute joy and a privilege to work with the young men, the men who are discerning our way of life, because I had the exact same questions that they do. God, what do you want me to do? What am I looking for? I'm trying to belong, and I don't know where you want me to use my gifts and my talents. These are questions that are natural as young people, that I've been through that. I've experienced that in my own life, that own searching and longing for something greater. And so it's a joy to work with these candidates and discerners who come and visit us for the first time. I always say, I love my job because I get to talk about something that I love. I love my religious life. I love my priesthood. I absolutely enjoy being an Augustinian, and I want to share that joy with others. And so my words of wisdom to all those who are discerning is to be open. I know it's not easy. We want to have the answers, but to be open to what God calls us to, is inviting us to, the possibilities of the horizon that could be, that's an exciting space to be in, and a truly blessed and graced place in our life.